it is with great pleasure that I introduce the trio. We have some amazing chefs here on stage today, and these guys have a lot in common. They are ambassadors for
Seafood on the Wild Atlantic Way. So we're Tasty Atlantic Young Chef Ambassadors.
Which is awesome. So that's what connects you all together,
Yeah.
which I absolutely love. So Sarah, so we've got the trio, so we've got starters, mains, desserts, inspired by the land, the sea, and local produce,
Yeah.
which is just wonderful. So you're going to learn so much about producers through this 3-course meal that the guys are going to produce.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tandem effect, isn't it? You're on first, you're on starters, which is the fabulous Sarah de Bruyne.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you a bit about Sarah. So I have your bio here, so I'm going to tell you
Great.
everything all about you. Yeah, reveal all of your inner secrets. if it's false, we're doomed. We're live now, Sarah, so if anyone asks, it's all true.
Perfect.
Well, she's fabulous. Let's start with that. Sarah is 26-year-old chef from County Kerry, very proud.
There we go.
Sarah grew up on a dairy farm in Kerry, where she spent most of her childhood either covered in muck out in the yard or covered in flour in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Love that description.
Still the same, actually.
Even as an adult.
Yeah,
to
as
this
an adult,
day.
yeah.
Well, you're keeping it real. Becoming a chef was never a part of the plan for her, as she watched the long hours her mom put into working as a chef in various hotels and restaurants in North Kerry.
Yeah.
So this was never on the cards.
No, absolutely not.
For the love of
No
God.
way.
I
Yeah.
couldn't see you doing anything else.
Yeah, I know.
Because I know your passion.
Do you know how I got into it?
No.
And it's funny that I'm so happy to be here today, and it's so exciting to be in Ballymaloe doing a demo, because the first cookbook that I ever got when I was a kid was one of Rachel Allen's cookbooks. I got Bake, and I used to watch her TV show as well. And my gran would let me, that's why I was always covered in flour, because gran was letting me do the baking in the kitchen. And yeah, so it's amazing to be here. And
That's really lovely.
Yeah, it's a nice little story.
You got to hang out with Rachel last night.
I know, I'm so
and
jealous.
And she is as fabulous as you think. And we'll make it work. We'll make those dreams come true. Instead, she decided to study architecture in UCC.
Yeah.
But her passion for food never left her, and she filled her summers with jobs working in kitchens and bakeries. In 2020, she decided to give chefing a proper go and began a course in pastry at CIT.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was it.
Hooked.
Yeah.
In Tasty Atlantic, a young chef ambassador, when did that happen?
That was in 2021.
2021.
Yeah.
Love it. That program in itself is one of the most impressive programs
great.
I have experienced from afar.
Yeah.
I'm too old, but I'm okay about that.
I think I'm too old now as well.
Are you?
Yeah, I
You've
think
just
so.
gone beyond.
Yeah.
But it's so impressive, and we'll get to talk about that in the next hour and a half, which I'm really excited about. And through this program, she visited Galway for the first time, began working in
Cava Bodega
Who?
for JP McMahon.
JP McMahon.
Yeah, so that was a big stepping stone then for me. Like even moving to Galway was a big, expansion of my food horizons, like the likes of Kai there in Ain. It was just amazing to even be able to eat in those restaurants. And it's opened so many doors for me being based in Galway. But I'm gone now.
Love it. You're
Home to
gone
Kerry.
now. You're just
gone from Galway. Yeah.
Because you're now on another venture and journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just about to finish what?
I'm just finishing up a course called Botanical Cuisine in TUD, which is a level 8 degree in Culinary Arts. But it's focused on botanical cuisine. So it's focused on foraged foods, organic growing. It's like Ballymaloe, but make it a degree basically.
Yeah.
And in 1 year. So I just have an exam and one assignment left, and then we're through the gap.
I love it.
But,
and
yeah.
so it's very relevant, right? That
Yeah.
course has definitely made such
massive
an imprint
impact,
on you
Yeah.
and what you do.
Yeah.
Tell us what you're going to make for us this evening.
So I'm going to start off with oysters, because I am really, really passionate about oysters. I think they're absolutely fantastic, and they're a part of our future food system, which is important to kind of start talking about. I suppose they're a really sustainable protein source. We have some really amazing oysters today from Rail Namara in Cremon in Kerry. Up
Where
Kerry.
you drove to yesterday
I drove
evening,
yesterday
especially,
evening, yeah,
because
to get
freshness
them.
is paramount.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm going to pair them up with some kind of more interesting oyster pairings, because I guess a lot of the time you get lemon or you get that shallot vinaigrette, and it doesn't have to be that boring. And they also don't have to be raw all the time, you can do loads of things with them. So I want to start to open those horizons.
Yeah.
Also, I've gotten, through the course this year in Botanical Cuisine, I've gotten into foraging. So I'm going to make a wild garlic and sheep's yogurt granita with some 3-cornered leek ash, and then I am also making a pickled gorse vinegar and a primrose leaf oil.
Oh my God, let's get cracking.
Yeah.
This sounds absolutely amazing. We're going to foraged as well as close to proximity-wise producers. Married together to create this amazing.
Exactly. So it's all really about like what does our food look like in the future, and like what can we preserve now that we still have, like there's so many flavors available to us from foraged ingredients. And it's not really about, for me, it's not about foraged food, it's about foraged ingredients.
We're done now.
So I'm skipping ahead here.
What was in there? That was a tincture.
Basically, so this is for the granita. So I have wild garlic here in this pot, and I'm gonna pop it on with some base for a granita. So it's just 85 grams of sugar, and I use a low processed sugar so that there's more vitamin and mineral content left intact.
And that's the richness of colour, that caramel colour comes through as a result?
Yeah, it's just from the sugar.
It's not stripped.
It's the molasses is still there, so there's still fibre in it, and there's still iron, calcium and magnesium left in there as well, which is great. And it gives some flavour to it as well. So that's just a basic
Can we show a bit of wild garlic?
Of course, So when you're looking for, I have loads of it here. So when you're looking for wild garlic, it's kind of coming to the end of its season now. It's starting to go to seed, so it looks like this. And the seed heads, normally it has all of these little flowers on top.
Love it.
It's absolutely everywhere, but it's starting to go to seed now, so it has these little kind of
like mini capers.
Little mini capers.
Oh my God, delicious.
And then the leaves are like this. The leaves. Like basically just big grasses.
If you go for a walk, you will
stay
get
in my car after this. Honestly, it's like stinking of garlic.
I love it. So we have our sugar syrup with our wild garlic, and so we're getting that sweetness in with that savoury hit as well.
And it's just to get rid of the bitterness out of the wild garlic as well. So cook it a little bit. We're going to leave it there for a minute.
Melting it down.
Yeah, like reducing it a little bit, just to get rid of the bitterness. I'm going to start heating up some oil so that we can make our primrose leaf oil. And normally we do this, as chefs in our Thermomix, but regular people don't have Thermomixes, so I had to figure out how to do this separately from a Thermomix. So we're just going to heat some oil to around 70 degrees, so it's not going to boil, it's just going to be hot.
Very important, Sarah, isn't it? Not to burn that oil.
Yeah, because otherwise you're going to get rid of the flavour out of whatever you're cooking. And it's like anything. I'm also going to make the simple syrup to pickle the the gorse and wild garlic buds in. And that's just a 3-2-1 of water, sugar and vinegar, which I've actually made myself accidentally by over fermenting kombucha. And that's another one of the things that I learned on the course, is that it's like Bob Ross, there's no such thing as a mistake, there's only happy little accidents. So that's what this is. This is actually kombucha that I made into a vinegar over the course of the semester, and I just added some gorse in to give it some really nice vanilla and coconut flavors. And it's absolutely delicious. You can drink that as it is. You don't need to add any sugar or anything to it. And
the recipe for that, you'll share that, won't you?
Yeah,
so I'm going to put these on. What's your handle?
It's Sarah de Bruyne, so Sarah, Sarah, and then Debrun. Yeah. If you want to follow that, and I'll put them up.
Now, don't chop anything. Let me have something just to show an example. So, what are you chopping up there?
So that's a primrose leaf.
Yeah, beautiful.
And you used to be able to find these absolutely everywhere in hedgerows, but they've gotten really hard to get, to be honest. I struggled yesterday to get some. Which is that because there's such a loss of biodiversity.
Oh, good God.
So it's actually very concerning. If you can look at stuff on some maps online that map the loss of biodiversity around. But primrose used to be really, really common. It used to be absolutely everywhere in the 50s, 60s, 70s. And in the last 10 years, especially 10, 15 years, it's decimated.
We're hurting ourselves.
Yeah, big time. So it's important to I suppose I want to highlight that as well when I have an opportunity like this. Mm-hmm. We need to think about our food systems and what they're doing to the natural environment that's around us. Obviously, gorse is really plentiful. Yeah. Can't get rid of it. But things like primroses that we totally take for granted, and as chefs we have a responsibility to preserve them as well and talk about them, because it's flavour, the flavour of primrose, you don't see that on a menu anywhere, and it's something that we are going to lose, so we need to think about what we're eating. And this is a sustainable thing to eat. So this is my oil there starting.
Watching the oil, just a nice gentle heat in there. You said 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Really, really crucial that we don't burn that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to let it cool down a little bit there because it started to boil, and just roughly chop this. And obviously in the Thermomix it would be beautifully smooth, and we just put it on for 10 minutes, but we don't have that luxury at home, so we're adapting. And my vinegar is starting to boil up there, so I'm going to grab my gorse and wild garlic, and I threw in some of the seeds. They're not really ready yet to make into capers.
Okay.
They need to be a little bit bigger, so about another week or so, and they should be stunning for capers.
Yeah.
But for now we're just going to pickle them, and I put the 3-cornered leek flowers as well. And then Tracy's going to char my 3-cornered leeks to make a 3-cornered leek ash. And we have some from earlier as well, just in case
I love
we
the
have
fire.
a little disaster over there.
So literally, I'm going to blacken this. That's what you want.
Just make it into an ash. So you just literally.
Does everyone have one of these at home? Do we feel confident with one of these in our hands? We do. Look at you all.
I don't particularly.
You're brilliant.
So I'm glad you're doing it.
Sweet, if it goes on fire, will you help me? Yeah, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. So I'm going to leave that oil cool down another bit because it's gotten a bit too hot there.
So Sarah, we're bringing out flavour here. We want to use that char as flavour.
Yeah, so
it's a layer.
What we're going to do is essentially just burn it until it's an ash, and it'll turn out like this. So I just did this on a stove. I don't know, is that better? And then we're going to sprinkle this on top of the wild garlic and sheep's yogurt granita.
And Sarah, just out of curiosity, because I think there was only one person in the audience that doesn't have a flamethrower in their home domestic kitchen, what could they use? Would it be a really
hot
high
pan.
grill?
Yeah, or grill,
pan? Oh yeah, straight onto a dry pan.
Yeah,
terrific.
And it'll take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I actually did my
Open the windows, open the doors.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're gonna have some smoke. But yeah, you can do it any of those. So with the pickles, this is actually like a really basic pickle recipe to have, and it's used in loads of Michelin star restaurants, and it's really easy to do at home. So just 3, 2, 1 water, vinegar, sugar.
Love it. 3, 2, 1, guys.
Yeah, simple.
I'm going to ask you at the end.
And then
Natalie.
we don't want it too hot, so I don't want to boil it too much because that's going to kill any vitamins and probiotics and stuff that are actually in the vinegar, which I've spent ages creating. And then also if it's too hot, it's going to kill the flavour in the gorse. So gorse kind of doesn't like anything above 50 degrees, I've learned through...
Who knew that?
Yeah,
I didn't know this.
It loses a lot of flavour if you go over that. And we kind of figured it out through a few different recipe trials in college this year.
Yeah.
And you can do loads of stuff with the gorse. You can make a nice milk, actually, gorse flavoured milk. But it has to be no higher than 50, otherwise you're going to lose the colour and the flavour. That looks okay now. So it's just simmering there, those guys. And then we're going to blitz it up in a minute. Popping in our leaves. And then I'm going to set these aside. So we just let that infuse, like ideally, for as long as possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop it over here for now. Yeah, actually, we're going to put it back. Perfect. And I have some I made earlier, so we're okay in that way. Okay. So we have this lad here.
Yeah.
Too
close for comfort.
So the wild garlic
has lovely and
sweated nicely there. And
great smells.
Smells like garlic still, but a little bit sweeter. And we're just going to put him into the NutriBullet.
So a Magimix, a NutriBullet, a blender of
any blender at all is fine. Yeah.
If I had a ladle, it's probably really helpful. I don't. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Improvise.
We'll manage.
Nobody notices.
It's okay.
No, come on, she has it. She's on it.
There you go.
Make her work for her.
Thanks to my mom for giving me pots for today also.
Yeah,
I'll just leave that bit.
Yeah, you can pop it up and I'll grab the handle.
Just a bit too much. Thank you. And then I have the sheep's yogurt weighed up, and I have vinegar and extra virgin olive oil as well, just to introduce. The vinegar is balancing out the flavour, and it's extra virgin rapeseed oil actually, which is full of omega-3s. So it's all about also just making it a little bit better for us. And kind of, wherever you can, introducing a bit more health into it.
Yeah.
I don't think my NutriBullet is big enough. Anyway, we'll see how we get on.
Love it.
So
many interesting flavours, so many layers in here. Great use of the hedgerows, Sarah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I suppose, I first started foraging actually through this course, and it was I didn't have a clue about anything, and it kind of just goes to show you that anyone can start foraging and start looking around. There's a great app that I use called Plant. I forget the name of it now. Oh no, it's called Picture This, and it's just, you can take a photo of any flower and it'll tell you what it is, and then I just Google is blah 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 edible, and that's how I've learned loads, to be honest. So we're just going to blitz this guy.
The fabulous Trina Allen is on tomorrow afternoon, so you have to come back to that. And part of her demo, actually, she has a full list of edible, non-edible flowers to use, so that would be actually quite beneficial as well.
Yeah. So it's not quite as strong as a NutriBullet either, this blender, or as a Thermomix.
I love NutriBullet.
How do you stop it?
How do you stop? Push back.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So normally in a Thermomix you're going to get more of a colour release from the wild garlic.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be more green. So we might need to, oh yeah, there we go.
Could we task one of you guys? We have a Thermomix at the back.
Yeah, could we just blitz it in the Thermomix?
Yeah.
Do you wanna? There you go. Thanks.
So
maybe a high.
So even if you were to put in 1/5 of the liquid with the leaves,
Yeah.
blitz it then.
Yeah, and then
gradually add the
Yeah.
liquid. That may help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to get the colour out of it. This is another problem with chefs. I think we're so used to working in kitchens and we don't know how to work at home. Like with normal equipment, you know, it's like a big learning curve.
To be normal.
Yeah, to be normal. Imagine. So I'm just going to blitz this one up as well. It's the primrose in the oil. And I'll actually just let that sit in the oil for as long as possible.
You want to pop
That's
it back
much
into
better.
this, or you can leave it in that.
We can leave it in that.
Yeah.
Fine. And then I have one here that I made earlier. So it's a nice green liquid. For this I have 50 grams of rapeseed oil, extra virgin rapeseed oil, and 50 grams of the primrose leaves. And just like that, 70 degrees,
Yeah.
and let it rest. And blitz it up. Just a much nicer colour even than the one I had. Okay? And then we just need to strain it.
Lovely
But I'll let it
vibrant.
sit in it for a little bit to infuse as much as we can.
Yeah.
So ideally with any of these infusions, you want to let them sit for like a day at least, you know, to kind of get as much.
Yeah. Draw out that flavour.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Fabulous, Sarah.
So
What's
then
next?
we're going to chuck some oysters.
Yoo-hoo!
Um,
So this is an area of expertise for you, Sarah, isn't it? You are
What?
deeply passionate about oysters.
Yeah.
You know an incredible amount about oysters.
Yeah.
And only recently you gave and you assisted at an oyster demo in Dublin
In
at
Dublin,
KTEX.
yeah. Yeah,
And
I
I
was
could
there.
also say that the lucky three here at the minute, we're all part of Chef Network.
Mm-hmm.
So we're ambassadors and on the board of advisors for Chef Network. And these guys are integral to that, ensuring that we bring in all age groups to the industry. So it's a wonderful achievement for you women as well.
Yeah,
so
it's cool.
through Chef Network, you were at KTEX on the main stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it, Sarah.
Yeah.
Tell us about oysters.
So, as I said, I got these oysters from Mara in Cremon because I'm from Kerry, and
Yes.
we love Kerry oysters. So oysters are filter feeders, so they take everything from the environment around them. So Kerry oysters are pretty distinctive, especially ones from Cremon, because they always get a really nice belly on them, and they're quite small and wide. And that's coming from, first of all, the knowledge of the oyster farmers there, and also from the kind of combination feed that they're getting in Cremon of mountain runoff and nutrition from the sea as well.
God, we just fall in love with oysters after that description.
And you can get, depending on where you get your oysters, there's 160 oyster farms around the country, and it's providing
You knew
around
that. I was going to say,
1,300.
did you guys know that? Of course you
Yeah,
you- of
1,300
course.
jobs for people in coastal communities, so it's like a lifeline for them, do you know,
Yes.
it sustains them. But they're different depending on where you get them. Like you can get little dainty baby flaggies from Newquay and Clare, or you know, you get the nice Dunecastle ones, which are kind of like these, but they have more of a frill. So it's interesting that they're all a little bit different too, and they all taste different.
And tell me about freshness. What must we know about freshness of oysters?
About freshness, well, like they're pretty easy to get fresh.
Yeah.
You know, because you can buy them from your oyster farmers fairly easily. And then once you buy them and keep them, so if you're storing them, you want to keep them on their belly so that they don't open, because when they open, they start to release their liquid,
Sarah, I love
and that's
that
going to
tip.
kill them.
Oh my good
yeah.
gosh,
So
I'm
sometimes you get
embarrassed
them.
I didn't know that.
You can get them from like you know, a fishmonger even, and they'll be thrown into a bag or whatever like that, and they will open and they will smell then as well. But you can keep them on their belly in your fridge for like 7 days, and they're going to be totally fine. It's nothing to worry about.
Fabulous tip.
Yeah, it's
Golden nuggets.
Like ideally, you know, use them. You're using them sooner than that, but they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And like, what's crazy I think about the oyster industry here is that it's that's our nice green colour there now for the granita.
Thanks, Stephen, for the green colour.
Thank you, Stephen.
Teamwork.
So we're just going to pop this into the freezer and let it freeze up. And
So
we're gonna,
tell me again what's in this, because there isn't a whole lot in this.
No, so it's wild
Four
garlic,
ingredients, yeah.
wild garlic, sheep's yogurt, kombucha vinegar, some rapadura sugar syrup, which is mostly water actually, and that's to give our texture to the granita. So granita is basically an ice that's forked and gets this fluffy texture. And it's used a lot with oysters because you can flavour it however you want. Yeah. But it's a really like old standard recipe from dessert books, you know, and you can manipulate it however you want. So I like doing things like this that are a bit weird.
A mother recipe into daughter recipes.
Exactly.
The versatility from it. Be creative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the only thing that you really need to know about granita is that the only way to make one perfectly is to use a fork.
Yeah.
And so first of all, you freeze it for an hour minimum, and then every half you do a forking, which Stephen is going to do now on my one that I made earlier.
Love this team.
And then every half an hour after that, you need to do a fork again so that it scrapes through the ice and loosens it all up.
Yeah. So you create that texture.
It creates a really fluffy ice. Yeah. It's delicious. And then it just melts in your mouth afterwards. It's amazing. So,
okay, fabulous. You're going to
shuck some oysters.
Yeah, I'll take these out of your way.
So these ones I was shucking some earlier. They're the ones I shucked earlier. And these oysters are quite hard to shuck, to be honest. And I'm struggling with them. But I figured out that...
Sarah, here's something that actually looks fantastic.
Oh, great, yeah. Okay, so here's the granita from earlier.
Love it. And just to show, if you want to lift it up on the fork.
So look, it's like
like fabulous.
Loose
lovely
ice.
large crystals.
Yeah. Nice large crystals. And that's all you're doing when you're forking it. So you're just mixing it like that and separating the crystals again.
No special equipment required.
Just a fork and a really good blender.
Yes.
Can I give it back to you for the freezer again? Just until we're ready. So the oysters, I'll show you this one again when I get another one. But yeah, I discovered there today when I was prepping that Cremon oysters are a little bit awkward to shuck. So they're not like your standard oyster. Some of them are easier and some of them are harder, you know. Not all oysters are the same. These ones are particularly hard to hinge open. So
wrap your hand in the tea towel, and that's really, really important.
Yeah, I'll show you all
have that protection. And so, the oyster knife.
Yeah, so the oyster knives, these ones I actually got for free from BIF, who organised the Taste the Atlantic programme. But it's just a very basic oyster knife. They're like a tenner, so anyone can buy them, and they're honestly the best. Yeah. I've gotten some more expensive ones, and they all broke. And this one, I'm pretty sure I have one there. I've had it since I started the Taste the Atlantic thing, and it's never broken on me.
The blade is running all the way through to the end of the handle.
Yeah, so and it's a really rigid blade.
Yeah, brilliant.
You do get ones sometimes that have a flexi blade, but I don't like them. I think they snap more easily, so I just wouldn't bother with them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll show you what I do with this. It's really simple. You need a tea towel and an oyster knife.
Yeah.
And the tea towel, we just put... I'll fold this over, you can see where I was shucking earlier. So just like this, a damp tea towel, and fold it into
what end is the hinge not to be really obvious about?
Okay,
show me that top shape. Yeah.
So this is the point of the oyster, and that's
where it tapers in.
That's where we want to go in with our knife, okay? And normally you can just go straight in there, and if you follow the dip in the belly, you can just go in like that, and not so far in, about that much, and it'll just hinge up for you. But with these ones, I've had to go in at the top first and then slightly to the side because they're a little bit more awkward. They have a really strong adductor muscle, which is the muscle that attaches the meat to the shells. And then, so this is the belly of the oyster. That's where all the meat is. And we can tell this is a nice oyster because it has a nice deep belly, but it's a short oyster, okay? Oh. So that means that the oyster farmer has controlled exactly what they're doing when they're growing them. So they're shaking the bags, and that knocks off the frill on the bottom of the oyster, and that encourages the oyster to divert its growth into the belly, which gives the meat. And oyster farmers, like, this is serious stuff. Like, they have so much knowledge, and their Irish oysters are like renowned worldwide for how good they are.
Yeah.
Loads of them are exported to France, and then they spend 4 weeks in French waters, and then they're called French oysters. So if you ever eat oysters in France, there's a good chance you're eating Irish origin oysters.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Speaking French. Okay, so we're going in at the point here. And I'm just going to put the knife in a little bit. I go in like this, so I'm following the kind of angle of the belly there. And then in with a good push and to the side. And then you just want to get it to pop, basically. And then we go back along the top of the oyster, keep our tea towel tucked over, And that's just to protect your fingers and your hand. And you're cutting along the top because there's an adductor muscle here at the top that you just want to cut to release the top of it. And then we just drain off the first liquid that comes out, and we can tidy it up a small bit. We can release the skirt all around. If you want, you can dip them in some water at this point, like just dip like that to rinse it, to get rid of any shells. You don't need to.
Yeah.
It's up to you. And then we just want to cut the other adductor muscle. So it's just like this. So the other one is there. So it's exactly opposite to where the first one was. And then we just flip it over to serve like that.
Beautiful.
And then we're going to garnish it. Okay? So I have some gorse, which my mother and myself went out looking for last night.
For you guys. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, cute.
Family effort.
Yeah. And then I'm going to serve up on some shells that I've collected and on some hawthorn as well. So I'm just going to shuck another few oysters and then we can plate up.
Yeah. The guys can help. Do you want to shuck a few? Yeah.
I have one more
and then
knife.
that will give you a bit of freedom.
Yeah, perfect.
Stephen, you're up.
You can see how hard they are now. So yeah, just drain off like that.
Any oyster lovers in the audience? Is this something you... Yeah.
Maybe.
Are you saying you want to taste? Is that what that wave was? She was very obvious about it. Well, we'll see what we can do. I can't make any promises.
Yeah. There we go.
That's it. Never take your eye off that blade as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
You don't want to look up and smile at anyone. So no distracting them. This is really serious now.
You can use mine.
They are a bit awkward.
They are awkward, yeah. So just in like that at the tip, and then you need to move it around to the side. This was all worked out earlier when Rory was doing his demo. I was like, how am I going to open all these oysters? But there you go. Yeah.
Terrific.
And the other thing is, once you start shucking them, you really have to get it open as quick as you can because they start to kind of strain the muscles. And, well, yeah, they're typical enough now.
Love it. And one more, we'll finish that off. No pressure. Chuck it, poor Becky. Okay, Sarah, what's next then? So we're going to plate up.
Plate up, yeah.
Love it. So we have our oil ready, we have our granita ready.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Like a bit of pressure,
So,
is there? Especially
I
if your
have
mother and father
for
watching.
plating up, I have obviously the oysters I shucked earlier, which we're going to line up over here on our.
Do you want me to pop them in?
Yeah, you can
Can I
work
lift?
there. Yeah,
I'll grab a
perfect.
spoon. Cheers, Stephen.
I have spoons here if you want. And I'm just showing as well that you can plate up on pretty much anything that you can make like a flat surface out of. So I have some hawthorn here that I've just made into a little bed in some water, and I've chilled that so that it's nice and cold to keep the oysters a bit colder as well. And on a plate that my mother, again, very generously donated. She's very supportive of this
Journey,
yeah.
Love it.
So just when you're putting them in.
Oh yeah. Oh,
you just
Sarah, I
want
did
to-
something wrong.
It's okay.
Teach me.
You just want to
I'm a student now.
make sure the point is at the point, you know. I know it's such a
Attention to
basic thing, but
Oh my God.
and then so that the skirt is at the back, and always so that the kind of belly of the oyster is coming up out of it. It just looks a lot nicer.
See, she'd
So-
make a fantastic teacher, wouldn't she?
I have that's it. So I have my primrose leaf oil here, which is a really nice kind of delicate flavour, and I just popped it into a bottle to make it easier for plating up, and we're going to give it a generous serving on these guys. And I also just put into this little display here, I put some so there's obviously gorse, and then I put some primrose flowers and some violets, which I found yesterday, and some wild marigolds, I think they are. I forget that. No, geraniums.
Okay.
Wild geraniums. And then I have my vinegar somewhere. Here?
Yeah.
So this is the vinegar from the infusion, which Tracy has taken away.
Yeah.
So we have the gorse and Gorse infusion, which I have here as well. And it's just a vinegar. So we just want to balance basically the acid and the fat there. And the vinegar is kind of sweet from the gorse, so you don't need to worry about putting too much. It just gives a nice like acidity, kind of freshness to the oyster. Okay, and then we can garnish that with some.
I just love your presentation.
We can garnish that with some primrose petals from the flowers, and maybe a few gorse flowers as well. Or you could use the pickled gorse that you did from your vinegar infusion, or some violet. Any like forage flowers at all.
Oh, I need to fill those oysters over there, do I?
Yeah, there's loads and loads of oysters.
God, I'm so poor. Job.
And then we can plate those guys up with the granita.
Yes. Stephen, would you mind
grabbing our granita?
Thank you so much. Yeah, the right direction.
Okay.
The granita.
Oh, yeah.
Shooting up there.
Okay.
Love it. If you want, guys, feel free just to come up and have a quick look, because we'll pop them back in the fridge until the very end.
Yeah.
But if you just want to have a quick glance of all of those foraged wild bits that Sarah picked in the hedgerows in the last 24 hours, please do. And you can see all of those beautiful colours popping. This is stunning. So special.
And it's such a simple thing, like, as well, you know.
Simple, Sarah. It's simple because you guys are going to have access to all of these recipes.
And as well, because the forage stuff is free, you know. Once you know what you're looking for, it's not like you just start seeing it everywhere, and there's so much flavour in it. It's just a pity to kind of.
We need to share that app actually, so that people can start, because sometimes the hardest place is beginning, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so great stuff.
My hand won't twist.
I'll just ignore that one. Okay, so our granita is nice and fluffy now. I'll move these guys over here. Try not to break my mom's fancy plate. And
so vibrant and green, it's a great colour.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and we're going to just serve this up on the oysters with a little bit of the blackened three-cornered leek ash. Just there in a little jar somewhere.
Fabulous, darling. Can I take that away for you?
Thank you. And then I also have my pickled leaves from the flowers. So these are just from the three-cornered leek flowers, which we pickled in the same infusion as the gorse one. So that's a great recipe because it's like so versatile. You can literally pickle any kind of flower with it, or any, like, even the wild garlic buds now, seed heads, they're all going to work as well. Okay, and my little ash. We have some fresh three-cornered leek flowers there as well. Okay, so this is just going to give a really nice colour.
So talk us through everything you've just done there now. Explain those dishes, because we're going to hand over to Stephen then.
Okay, so we have oysters. I'm calling them Primavera oysters because they're oysters with spring forage flavours. And we have here wild garlic and sheep's yogurt granita with a three-cornered leek ash and pickled wild garlic flowers. Then we have our primrose leaf oil with gorse kombucha vinegar on these guys.
Love it!
And that's it.
Sarah de Browne, I can't thank you enough.
Great. We'll pop these in the fridge now.
Love it. Yes, please.
Out of the
And
way.
there may be one person in the audience that might get one later.
Maybe.
I love it. Stephen Cronin, welcome to the stage. How are you?
Good, long time no see.
I know. We're old friends, aren't we?
Yes.
Thankfully. So Stephen Cronin, you're on mains today. So with our trio of chefs, you are chosen to do mains. Tell me a little bit about what we're cooking today.
Ideally I would have had pollock with me, but unfortunately I couldn't get it and I didn't have time to go fishing for it. So when I was younger, we would have gone down in front of my house. It's called the Mermaids.
Yeah.
So it's just a little kind of rocky area. We would have gone float fishing. Like I would have spent hours down there. So and then kind of.
So where are you from? We haven't told them where you're from yet.
Literally about 5 minutes over the road over in Ballycotton. I live up the cliffs there. Some of you may know where I live. Some of you may not. So that's a good thing or a bad thing. But
so you're used to fishing?
Yeah. We would have spent a lot of time rock fishing, and it would have been part of the juvenile angling club in Ballycotton, run by Peter Manning. He does does a lot of wood turning. He does bows and boards and all sorts of stuff. Like his skill is, it's kind of a dying trade really, but it's phenomenal to see what he can do. He usually be here at the Christmas fair. If you follow him on Facebook, Peter Manning Woodwork is. He would be very good to me when I was young for this.
Oh, I love that, Stephen. Yeah, how cool. So he would have been a mentor in that space. Yeah.
And he would have, like, anytime we were out, he would have told us about the wildlife, kind of out the boat. He talks about the cliff. So if you go along the cliff walk, you've all these different kind of inlets. So Paradise would have been a big one that people would have known, and it's actually, when you go to cliffs, there's these big green fences in front of it. Now you can't go down there because it's all broken away. It's just not safe. But you have like the likes of the Cradle and Table, you have the Mermaid, you have Men's Bathing, you've all these places like that are ideal for the likes of your pollock, likes of your mackerel in the summer, then that comes in. I would have spent a lot of time down there. But then as you go along the cliff walk, so I suppose this dish kind of would have been inspired by starting out fishing there and working my way out the cliff. So I have a gorse syrup that I'm going to use. I actually, unlike Sarah, I actually had a load of primroses around.
Rub it in. Ballycotton is fabulous, we get it.
Up where we call the Boreen, just off to the right of the cliff walk. It loops you back around to the back of the church in Ballycotton. It's a nice little kind of local walk. Some people, locals call it Blackberry Lane. I just call it Boreen because I'm not technically a local, I'm first generation local. It doesn't go down well. So can
we talk about the name of this dish, because it's the fact that you've just talked about Ballycotton and the cliffs. This is called Walk Along the Cliff.
Yeah, that's
which I love.
It's just kind of like, I suppose, when you're out and you're looking at all these things, and as a young fella I wouldn't have really known what was on my doorstep, but then as my career grew in cooking, I would have gotten to know what I could do with all these ingredients, like instead of driving 20 minutes into Middleton, go for a walk out the cliffs and use your skill to
make the most of it, bring back those old traditions. They have a place in a space. I love it. Tell us a bit about your background. So an ambassador for Taste the Atlantic, game changer.
First I would have started out in Pier 26 in Ballycotton. It's now Cush. Colin Hennessy is a man. Some of you may know Fry Guys. They're actually over in Kilkenny Design Park tonight, so if we're in time we can go over there after.
Why would you leave here?
He would have been very good to me. Then Kieran Scully over in the Bayview. He was one of my lecturers in college as well.
And so you're currently doing your final exams?
I've actually have an exam tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
For the love!
That's tomorrow's problem. I'd go in there Wednesday as well. But
do you want to use that wooden board?
I'll use this one first.
Okay, Stephen, tell us about this dish then. So we have cod instead of pollock, and we forgive you for that?
Yeah, there's nothing too hectic about it, to be honest. It's kind of simple.
Upsell?
That's simply good honest food, I believe in honesty on the plate.
Respect to that.
So that's your side of cod really. Ballycotton Seafood would have given this to me. Adrian and Diane and Kieran, they're locals in Ballycotton as well, they're absolutely A1. They're very good to me. So normally what we do is, I'd normally cut off the belly and use that then like your seafood boucher for a starter. Charge €16 for that.
Sorry, what was it? Seafood what?
It's a seafood boucher, so it's like a little pastry case and a fish stock we reduce down. So again, like coming back to sustainability, if we were to pinbone this, we can add our little bones to the stock. We'll reduce that down.
Oh yeah, I like this now.
Pound of butter, pound of cream, reduce it down again, and you can use your ultra foam to foam it up and mix your herbs through your sauce.
Did he not say this was easy? Listen to this. That's very impressive, and I love that. And I love this sustainability piece and using every piece from an ingredient.
Yeah, that's a big thing now in kitchens.
Maximise.
Like everywhere you go, sustainability, like it's just it's a buzzword
critical.
At the moment. Yeah, and
love it.
Again, like it's putting more money in the business owner's pocket too, which essentially is the game if you are running a business.
Yes.
You have to meet your targets, I suppose.
Buckle.
So
go for it.
I normally take off the belly.
Yeah. So that's that thinner piece up at the top.
Yeah.
So you're removing that, you're going to bring it home, and you're going to make something delicious.
I'm going to put it on my starter menu.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Brilliant.
Some people will take off the tail. I wouldn't be a huge believer. So, little trick in restaurants that you may not do at home. If you do take off the tail, what we sometimes do is this. We'll come under.
Yeah. Keep it taut, so nice and tight on that skin.
And we'll flick it up.
Yeah.
And then instead of cutting this off and wasting that, we now have one portion out of this. So sometimes you'll see the bit of fish you get, you'll have the tail flipped up. That's your kind of little chef's trick, I suppose, for want of a better word, that you might not do at home. And then
Oh, I really like
that's a
that.
nice bit of cod to get rather than
Beautiful.
say, just that half.
Somebody going hungry
Just
because
that
it's
half.
too thin.
Yeah, exactly. Can't
Great
eat
tip,
quite
Stephen.
hungry. With this dish, what I did was skin the salmon, heavily salted it. It kind of cures it to some sort, I suppose. It gives it that bit of firmness inside. Like you can see it's rolled tight as well.
Draws
It
out the
seasons-
moisture.
Yeah, it takes out the moisture.
Love
and
that,
kind of
yeah.
gives that little pellicle of fish that you kind of look for as well.
Yeah.
Um,
All of these tips.
you can
They're
you
brilliant,
can
aren't
skin
they?
the whole side. You can pinbone it as well. Obviously, you don't want to choke them.
Well, we put them into our stock.
Yeah,
We've already
you
used
could
them.
roll the whole side as well and slice it. You could actually sear it off for service and slice as you to
Yeah.
order. But
And what are we doing today?
I'm going to just take a little piece off here. I'm just going to skim that, and then I'm going to get my cling film and salt it.
Where's the cling film? I have some here. And any particular salt?
The old Malden sea salt, I suppose, is ideal.
Yeah.
Achill Island do a lovely sea salt, don't they? It's way
Yeah.
up west, like.
Yeah. West of
Becca,
Jingle.
West
know.
of Jingle have
Yeah.
amazing sea salt. So, yeah.
Don't they? The
Up
different
Kerry.
flavours. Up Kerry. And she's a Kilkenny woman.
Up to King
Can we
Mike.
talk about that, Stephen? Yeah.
I'm actually, next week, I'm actually making the big move from Ballycotton down to Ballinskellig. So I'm going from one big city to another absolutely gigantic city. Driftwood Surf Cafe down in St. Finian's Bay. So it's the back arse end of nowhere, to be honest with you, like, but it's an unreal part of the country. Like, I highly recommend going for a visit down there.
Stephen, I'm so excited for you. I will visit now because I know you're going to be there cooking up a storm.
Around the
She's
corner.
only looking for a raid, is actually.
Put me up for the night, good man. So we're wrapping that in cling film. Again, we just want to create that shape, Stephen.
Yeah, it gives that kind of nice presentation to it. You know, sometimes you get these fish falling all over your plate, like, just
Yeah.
doesn't look great. So, off that. and then
That
you
little
roll it
extra
up.
step could
can
impress
just
the
kinda
family.
Flick it around. Obviously, you'll see people roll it on the table.
Yeah.
Sometimes catches, sometimes doesn't.
Brilliant.
Like, sick and be nice and taut. Usually, you do this kind of maybe an hour, half an hour before service, and take them out to just when you get your order on, you whip it out and take it out to cling film.
Yeah.
It'll be nice and solid on your plate. Like, it won't really shrink that much onto a hot pan. Loads of water.
Yeah. So back into
Water
the
makes it better,
fridge.
Tracy, isn't that right?
Butter is king. Back into the fridge to keep it chilled at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's where this is going.
Yeah.
Or somewhere.
Yeah. Fabulous, darlings. Becca, you're up.
So
Board.
then again, I suppose coming back to walk along the cliff, again you've loads of, like Sarah said, wild garlic. It's kind of everywhere at the moment. It's slowly dying out, but we're coming to the end of the season. But I'm making a wild garlic tartar sauce. So this is a small bit of a take on kind of one of my favourite dishes as a young fellow being fish and chips. So it's kind of like I suppose an elevated version of that.
Oh, good use of that actually.
I have my.
And a great way to introduce wild garlic to lots more people. Put it in the tartar.
You're going to start to make a mayonnaise there.
Oh yeah, what am I doing, sweetie?
So our buzzer is plugged in.
Yeah,
Or in blender.
Yeah.
You just blend that for me till it's all nice and green.
I'm sure I could.
You could again do this in the Thermomix. I know
Yeah.
Sarah's a fan of the Thermomix. Again, with a mayonnaise at home, it's fairly simple to make. The key thing, I suppose, in making your mayonnaise is if you add a load of oil in at the start, it's going to split and you're going to have tartar water instead of tartar sauce, and it's just a disaster.
Don't do it.
It's happened to me a
Yeah.
few times when I was young fella. Praying it doesn't happen to me here now.
Great way to learn though, isn't it?
Yeah,
To
oh,
understand fully
absolutely,
what
like,
could go
sure.
wrong.
I suppose if you talk to any chef, they're
Yeah.
going to make a load of mistakes in their career.
Yes. So homemade mayonnaise, there is nothing like it.
No, everyone will have their own kind of recipe as well. Like some people,
Yeah.
I worked for a fella who needs 6 eggs, 6 yolks. Some fella 2 eggs, 1 yolk. You know, it varies. Some
Yes.
people will put a bit of vinegar in with it.
Yes.
lemon juice, kind of season it, salt, pepper throughout, start and end.
Yeah.
Again, some people have a squeezy bottle as well, and they'll just trickle it in nice and slowly.
And you could do it by hand if you don't have this piece of kit.
You could.
Yeah.
You'll be tired after that.
You go to Ballymoney Cookery School and you learn from the best, Dorina Allen.
She doesn't approve of me
She's
here.
sitting down the back. Of course she approves. She loves real food.
So again, what's going to go in here is your
Love it.
your
Lovely
capers and
consistency
your
there
gherkins.
too.
You can slice them as fine as you want or as thick as you want. It's up to you. Some people like chunky tartar sauce. Some people like
Take this out, we're finished.
Yeah, I have some. Here's some I made earlier. The famous.
Oh, look at you.
It's just in a pipe bag.
Yeah,
Obviously, the more garlic you put in, the more green it's going to be.
you do that for me.
So,
Fabulous, darling.
Have like your. Sometimes you get gherkins and they're huge. I just like, I suppose, chef in terms of big Browne was. Small, little, nice dice. Slice them up whatever way you want. You could slice them once down the middle and slice that again in half if you wanted.
What I miss?
I think the other term for that is rustic.
Oh yeah, I love that word too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
kinda-
it doesn't have to be
lets you
absolutely
get away with
perfect.
it when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Just call it rustic. Happy days.
Absolutely. Save
Yeah,
time then, don't you, Stephen?
Yeah. It's key. You can put shallot in here as well, dill, fennel, loads of stuff in here, mix it around into your piping bag then for service, and sit it aside until you're ready to plate.
Brilliant. So all of our components.
What some people don't do when they make tartar sauce is actually they take, see the way it's sat in liquid there? They'll take one and put it straight in like that, and then again, like I said earlier, we didn't want tartar water, so I was always taught when I started out, give them a good squeeze before I do that. It kind of makes it not so acidic then when you are eating it.
Okay.
And then just run your knife through it again. Obviously you'd have a big
Rough chop.
Yeah. Or as fine
Rustic. Sorry, rustic chop.
Yeah, in we go again.
Yeah.
I worked for a fella and I didn't approve it, but he put everything into the blender.
What's his name?
He doesn't chef anymore, thank God.
There's a reason he left.
I sacked him.
Go on.
No, it's like, comes tartar water again.
I can tell by the pain in your face. You
I
didn't
don't
enjoy
like
it.
tartar water, as you've probably
Yeah.
gathered.
Oh, we gathered all right. Tell me, so what's next? We have our tartar ready. Sounds absolutely
Yeah.
delicious. Made
So
from
again,
scratch.
this goes back to our title, the
Yes.
walk along the cliffs. That's
Yeah.
your gorse. There's an abundance of gorse along the cliffs. So I picked that the other day.
Yeah.
Just made simple, kind of a simple syrup, just a little tickle, not too hot. Otherwise, again, you're going to kill it below 50 degrees.
Great tip.
Yeah,
Love that.
And just leave it kind of, the longer you leave it, the longer you leave your flowers inside there, the longer it's going to infuse and going to get that kind of gorse flavour out of it, which is what we want. I'm going to take my fish.
Here's one we have wrapped from earlier.
My seaweed. So you go to Ballytrasna at the end of your cliff walk. It usually takes about 40 minutes, and you can actually keep going on again. It'll loop way back down to Guyleen, which is down the back of a Hadda somewhere. But down Ballytrasna is a nice old kind of private beach, I suppose.
Yeah,
Locals would often go
gorgeous.
up there. So I picked my seaweed there the other day.
This is a
dehydrated it.
newsletter. You know we have to now do a newsletter after this.
You
That,
can
that
type it
I'll
up,
send
Tracy.
out. But I think all of this information, yeah, you dictate, I'll type. But I think all of these valuable tips and hints, for anyone that lives here, they'll obviously know about it, but people coming to visit, it's really special, isn't
I
it?
suppose it's kind of, I actually remember in primary school we did like a tourist kind of guide to Ballycotton.
Yeah.
And we were talking
get
about
that.
all the fishermen, snow camping.
Yeah.
And kind of we would have talked about the beaches and again like the cradle and table. So the cliff walk and the lighthouse are just huge
Yes.
attractions to Ballycotton. Like.
Yeah.
So if you come there, and there is nice restaurants.
Yeah, we're very
in the
lucky.
hotel.
There's a world-renowned cookery school as well. We're very, very lucky.
That's Shanigary, no, not
Yeah.
Ballycotton.
For God's sake,
The local
actually
rivalry,
neighbours.
you know.
I was a blow-in for 10 years. They never accepted me.
Yeah, they don't really like Browns. Both my parents are
don't.
Browns, doesn't really go down well.
They know my pain.
Yeah.
What are we doing there now? You did that really quickly. So
Just-
that
I
was
just
the
kind of
wrapped
trimmed up.
cod
Yeah.
that you had refrigerated. So you salted it, wrapped it, refrigerated it. It's now firmed up.
Yeah, you can see it's kind of like like a piece of actual meat rather than fish. Like it has that little kind of shine to it.
Yes.
holds in the pan that bit better as well. It doesn't
Okay, love it.
fall around the place and go too much. Like, ideally, you'd have your non-stick pan. Thankfully, I do have one here.
Yeah.
In some kitchens, you don't. And
you wouldn't be well after that.
I've seen some fish go to waste.
Yeah.
But no, having the right equipment for the right job is.
And the temperature, isn't it? Temperature control really helps as well.
Yeah, so if I
so
throw
that it
this into
doesn't
a hot
linger
pan
and stick.
and it's black on one side and brown on the other, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not going to look great.
Yeah. Perfect.
But again, consistency, I suppose. So
That
I'll
looks
sear
fantastic.
off my fish, and I like to leave my fish rest for a minute or two.
Okay, we'll allow
And it
that.
just kind of cooks through, I suppose.
Yeah, the residual heat.
Yeah.
Is it, Stephen?
It's all about
Yeah.
residual heat.
Yeah.
So in with your oil, there's a little bit of thyme and stuff inside the bottle
It
there.
looks very professional, doesn't it, with a squeezy bottle? I really like that little effect. I don't have a squeezy bottle.
You can actually get them inside in the likes of Deals and
Yes.
cheap stores for €2 or €3.
Yeah.
They
There's a bit of
actually do
pizzazz
that.
in this.
I went up to Home Store Mall one day, bought these bottles, €15 each, whatever, mad money, and they were horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good tip again.
Yeah.
A little bit of extra sea salt, just for that
Yeah.
extra layer of flavour.
Hot pan again is key for this, like, because it's just not gonna.
Yeah.
If it's cold pan, your fish is gonna stick.
Best of luck. Live. It's live in a shed. Oh, great sound.
Some people you'll see as well, when they do leave the skin on fish, they'll keep their hand down on it, because you'll see, with the likes of John Dory mackerel, it'll curl up, and then the kind of belly of your fish is going to be burnt before your edges are cooked.
Yeah. So for that even colour throughout.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of pressure, not too much.
Oh,
Yeah.
touch right,
Yeah, nice and gentle,
Yeah.
Stephen. Love it.
Tuck them in,
Good
Bobby in the face. Be kind, yeah.
So that's it, turning the temperature down. But you're listening to that sizzle as well, Stephen,
Yeah.
isn't it? So you're looking at the smoke, you're listening to the sizzle, you're understanding what's going on in that
And if
pan.
you put a piece of fish into a really hot pan, you're going to, like, first of all, if you've oil in there, you're going to smell it burn straight away, like, so.
Yeah.
Immediately then, you know, geez, start again.
Start again,
Before
take the
you-
pan off.
Before you ruin the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
What's next?
I suppose ideally I'd have had Ballycotton potatoes, but it's a bit too early in the year for them. Willie Scannell is a great man for Ballycotton potatoes.
100%.
John Kennefick's another good man.
Famous
they
for
live
it.
up kind of, I suppose they're Maytown direction, so go right at Sea Church and up the hill and keep going. Knocking at 2 doors, you'll find them.
It'll be in the
Too many people
newsletter.
up there. But they're just baby boilers. So I made a marigold and orange butter to go with them.
Oh,
for
nice,
this- for
Stephen.
this oil over there on top of the oven.
Oh, yeah.
We throw the 2 butters, please. Actually.
Truth.
So
Yeah,
I just
love
have
that. Love the colour.
A few marigold flowers in there, a bit of orange zest is all. It just kind of gives it a nice lift, something different, not something you're going to have at home, shall we say. So when you come to the restaurant, we're going to have a nice butter to go with your spuds, and it'll all complement your fish as well, because it's not too overpowering for
Yeah.
the whole dish.
And did you want me to heat that?
Ideally you have, so that's your quenelling spoon, or rocher. Want to heat that.
Ooh.
Makes it look that bit better. And you can charge an extra 2 or 3 quid for that.
So get a bit of heat back into our potatoes, because we had those prepared earlier, just to make sure that they were
I'll
ready.
get my plate as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, lovely plate, Stephen.
They're courtesy of the Bayview, so
Oh.
you won't be too happy with their rod tonight.
If they run out, they know where to come and get
But
it.
don't fear that anyway. But
So our fish is cooking.
fish cooking,
Usually
everything's
rich
kind of
golden
ready
brown.
to rock really.
Yeah.
Again, this is, I've picked primroses, I picked dill. I got chai flowers this morning
Wow.
from the garden.
Lovely variety, great flavours. Because each thing brings its own flavour, doesn't it, Stephen? That's the point. Beautiful. Aaron now. Not lovely.
You want to be at a
Not
weird
lovely.
seriously.
That's
I've
very
always
nice.
thought, like, so some places will have your fish, they'll cook it skin side down. Whereas when I went down to the Bayview, Kieran's a great man for adding colour to fish.
Yeah.
He'll cook it flesh side down and then turn it. Like he'd give out, you know, if there was no colour on your fish. Like he hates to see fish come out in it
Yeah.
just white.
Well, colour is flavour, isn't it?
He'd be a big believer in that.
Yeah.
Some places now would sear to put it into the oven. That's grand if you've 200 people coming in looking for dinner. But
Yeah.
we were always thought you enough time to cook it on the pan.
Love it, Stephen.
I have my cucumber pickle here as well. And we go a bit old school. So if this doesn't work, it won't look great. Sorry, I should have done my butter while my spoon was hot. Ideally your butter be room temperature.
again, Stephen.
Had your little
Oh, lovely.
crochet there, or funnel, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, beautiful. Lovely shape. And the right proportion as well, isn't it, Stephen?
Yeah.
So the
exactly.
balance, yeah.
I give kind of 3 or 4 spuds.
Yeah.
And if someone wants more kind of.
Yeah. Love
I had
potatoes.
my pickled cucumber there. Like Sarah was saying earlier, a simple 3-2-1 pickle mix. It's kind of the fundamentals of a lot of kitchens, really. One of the first things I learned was doing this. So, you see it's nice vibrant green. It kind of contrasts then to the rest of the dish. It's nice green and black, and you have your ambers and your deep colours from the fish. So, what I do is throw it up on the board, lay them down. You can actually do this for if you're making cocktails as well. Loads of different things. Lay them out, you make a little rosette. If it doesn't work here now, it won't too great, but that's okay.
Oh, it'll work. We're confident. We actually have a fabulous cocktail at the end to complement this 3-course meal. Very excited about it. Is there anyone here? They're not here yet. I won't talk about it. It's secret. It's a secret. Oh, look at them there. The experts love this. So the overlap of the cucumber, Stephen, and then roll them from one end all the way up. Ara now.
I'm not a smoker either, like,
Love
I
it.
know that very well.
What the heck?
So you can stick a little cocktail stick in there.
Yeah.
And you keep it going, or keep it up, shall we say.
Gorge.
No, you wouldn't send cocktail stick up. You can't eat that.
Yes. But if you had time prior and you need to get it done early,
Yeah.
that's a good piece of advice.
Why you should go on the bowls for these spuds.
Totally.
You could sit this on the plate or serve it on the side. Obviously your spuds will be a lot hotter than they are here, but
What you mean? I heated them perfectly, Stephen. Look at the steam coming out of that. Stephen, they're watching us.
Is that hot?
They're watching us. Oh, for the live! It's
You
live.
can't do anything right today. I love butter. Like, I'd be lost without it.
Yeah.
Loads of butter. I don't think you can ever have too much. I didn't pay for this either, so it doesn't really matter.
Stephen, you're so generous. So it's now brown butter because of the heat, which brings in another layer of flavour.
Leave it on heat for a while, it's going to become burn rosette. Most chefs will baste their fish, leave it rest in for a minute, dry it off. You can actually serve burn rosette. We do a cod dish over in the Bayview, smoked almond, rhubarb and burn rosette, and it's one of the more popular dishes.
You're nearly steaming it in butter.
That'd be great now if I had 3 or 4 in there. I probably did it a bit like. So.
Yes. Just for everyone here tonight to make
Do you
them
want to taste
jealous.
that for me?
Oh yeah, totally. On it. You make it look so easy. Love it, Stephen. Look.
Use a proper spoon.
Yeah.
Largest room in Amsterdam.
I wouldn't do it to you.
Having a proper fish slice style is actually very important for fish is not on a non-stick pan. Because if you use one, you can get plastic ones, but the kind of lip in them is very fat-like, so you dig into your fish and it can just, again, you're after preparing this fish, so why are we going to destroy it when all we have to do is put it on the plate pretty much. So your nice metal ones, they actually sell them. I actually got this inside in the cookery, or the shop here, just at the house. It's a great shop for if you're ever looking for equipment or whatever.
Bits and bobs.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so this is drenched in flavour now and help to cook it through. How do you know it's cooked? What's your technique?
That's my quote there, huh?
Yeah. Texture.
Yeah, I suppose you'll know by the kind of feel of it. You'll see fish will, if someone sends back their fish in the restaurant and it's flaked,
Yeah.
I've seen many chefs get like quite irate because their fish won't flake unless it's cooked through.
Yes.
It's a real bugbear for chefs. Dry, round, bend, like, and you go with biddies come in and say, oh, my fish isn't cooked. Oh,
They're your customers.
But no, it's kind of, you know by the colour, like, you know,
Yeah.
like kind of.
And you want it firm to the touch, isn't it, Stephen?
Small but firm.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of say your fish should be small but translucent.
But you're going to let it sit for a moment. So it's off the heat now.
Yeah.
You're going to let that sit for a moment, which we spoke about earlier, and that's going to help cook that through even further.
Exactly.
So
Constant
utilise
basting.
that residual heat. So tell me on this, we have our cucumber pickle rosette, we have our boiling hot potatoes, Stephen.
Chef Mike there is in the back, he'll sort them out. Chef Mike in the industry is a microwave, by the way.
It's a science oven, we don't use that word, it's dirty.
Yeah, that was my carrageen that I picked. I just deep fried it, made it a
Oh,
little bit crispy.
lovely. Oh, can I try it? I've never eaten deep fried carrageen. Thanks, Stephen.
It's just gives another texture to the dish too.
Oh, for crying out loud, that's delicious.
Do you want some, Rebecca? Wait there. Sorry.
Okay, fabulous. So we're just about to plate up, popping all our components on our serving dish. So we have our cod.
Even as well, if you don't think it's cooked, you just leave it sit in your tea towel. The residual heat can just steam through that last bit. You could actually keep your butter here because it's not burnt. That's chef's soup. Like that's delicious. Like throwing that was probably a bit of a sin.
Hollandaise.
Yeah.
Would you put it?
You could. You can do that.
Fabulous.
Yeah, you can keep it for your breakfast next morning.
Stunning.
Snack there at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So on we order fish. With my Course syrup. My tartar sauce that I made last night. A bit better than Dino's battered fish and chips, like, isn't it?
It's super. It's absolutely super, Stephen. And then those piping hot potatoes. Jesus, they're so hot. Get them into the pot.
Again, you have your primrose flowers, your wild garlic flowers. Like, using them is it's insane not to really when it's on your doorstep and free. Most chefs will go for a walk in the morning before they start work if they're lucky enough to start at 11 or 12, so why not pick them? Well, obviously if you're in a city, it won't be like that. I'm lucky enough that I can do.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful colours, beautiful flavours.
I actually have
I'm going to give you
a
that.
lovely lad up in Dean Lara, Ivan O'Shea is his name. He does microgreens, you know Ivan?
I don't know, I
He
don't
does
know.
microgreens for all the restaurants in East Cork.
Oh, nice.
So he'll have cress and he'll have pea shoots, do nasturtiums.
Yeah.
Obviously you can pick your nasturtiums yourself, so it's nice to make a little kind of microgreen salad and sit it on your dish as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your lettuce from your
Lovely
fish and
freshness.
chips, like, you know,
Yeah.
that's kind of what the technique was there, or the inspiration. And you can dress it with your Course syrup then again, so if you want to dress it on a board, obviously in a bowl would be ideal, like, but
You love this word, don't you? Food.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. To be honest, I always wanted to be a chef. I don't remember what. I thought about teaching for a while.
Yeah.
Realised I wasn't going to get the points in the leaving, so that kind of put an end to that pretty sharpish. So I kind of pursued cooking. Like I remember the day I finished my junior cert, I was down inside in Pier 26 peeling spuds and cutting chips and whatever. And I suppose.
But you were amongst mentors all the time, Stephen, weren't you? Which I think is really important. You've been amongst great people that have brought you along as well.
Yeah, I have. I've been lucky enough, again, Colin Hennessy, Kieran Scully,
Yeah.
two men who I suppose kind of influenced who I am today, or in as regards my cooking career.
Yes.
I can't thank them enough, I suppose. Kieran actually encouraged me to go away this summer, and going away to Newman to Ballinskilligs. Most people that have been kind of Australia or Dubai, but you know, we'll get there at some stage.
Stephen, this
My mother actually would have been
amazing.
a very good home cook herself. My father, unlike I suppose a lot of traditional men, he would have done a Christmas dinner pretty much every year. So I suppose being around that would have kind of inspired me to pursue this, and I suppose I was always hungry as well, which I always wanted food. I couldn't be fed quick enough when I was a young fella. That hasn't changed either.
Stephen, can you tell us the name of your dish?
I suppose that's walk along the cliffs with, ideally if it was July, I'd have ballycotton potatoes, which I suppose the fields they're grown in back onto the cliffs. So you have literally all your elements of your dish here, literally right on the cliff.
Yeah.
So you kind of can't get much more local or much more at home than that. And given where I live, like I literally live right up next to the cliffs. So for me to stand up here and talk about ingredients from God knows where else would be a sin. So why
Great
not
pride.
support local and yeah.
Yeah. Stephen Cronin, can't thank you enough. Absolutely wonderful. And you're not allowed to eat it, okay? Hang on to it so I can take a picture later. We'll do it. That was absolutely super. And next up to the stage to finish this fabulous 3-course meal is the fabulous Becca Sweeney. Thank you so much. Becky, how are you?
I'm very good.
So we were tasked, or I tasked you three, to come up with a 3-course meal,
Yes.
starters, mains, desserts, and actually you did it brilliantly. You all played to your strengths, and this was something you knew immediately what you were going to do. So like the other two guys, it arrived. Tell us, what are you making today?
So I went fairly simple now, so it's definitely a task that you could do at home. So everybody doesn't have the privilege of having a chef's equipment or a professional kitchen at home. So I picked up bits that you can literally get in your little grocer or your health food shop, and just a little bit of locality really, that's it.
Yeah, nice. So bear with me
Get
now.
your pots and pans.
Get your oven on because we're going to do a little bit of baking. So you're making a carrageen panna cotta,
I am.
and I love the use of seaweed that has come through
That's
today.
it. So that's the thing, it's the challenge of using products from the Tasty Atlantic. Like you think of seafood, you think of fish, oysters, but putting it into a dessert is definitely a different way about it.
Yeah.
So carrageen is actually a really great setting agent. So
Yes.
people don't think about putting seaweeds in their desserts, but it's basically like a vegetarian gelatin, and it does a great job.
Yeah.
So and
Love it.
that's it. You can pick it up on your shoreline. I dragged them through the beach this morning to try and get some fresh stuff.
Put up your hands, Mammy and Daddy. Go on, you good things.
But that's it. But instead, I actually have. It's one from Sligo, so it's from Eastgate, which I'm actually currently based in Sligo at the moment, and it's just dried carrageen, and it does just a great of a job. I can't even speak.
Yeah.
Just as good of a job as
Fresh. Oh, absolutely.
your fresh stuff is.
You rehydrate.
So that's it. So I basically rehydrated mine here, and that only takes about 10 minutes.
Yes.
So it works very similar to the fresh stuff, but if you were to get fresh, you only use like 1 gram to 2 grams. Here I have 8 grams.
Yeah.
And you know it's natural because you still have your bit of sand floating in the water there as well. So basically, yeah.
I love it. And what I didn't tell people, when you're not here on this demo stage, you are head chef of Hooked in Sligo.
So no pressure at all. Yeah.
No, which is
definitely keeps
awesome.
busy.
Yeah, you are kept busy.
100%, yeah. No, I took up the role just roughly it's just gone over a year now.
Yeah.
And I've completely embraced it. So I'm
Taste
definitely
Atlantic, Chef Network, Hooked Sligo, like you have a great curriculum.
Yeah, 100%. We've such a great amount of suppliers there as well. We're absolutely spoiled for choice. So we're surrounded by the water in Sligo. So I basically want to connect ingredients from there, plus ingredients from Cork as well.
Well, it makes perfect sense. Okay, bring us on the journey.
So basically, I'm going to start off with the panna cotta. Panna cotta takes time to set, even if you were using your regular setting agent or your carrageen. So I actually prepared one earlier, but I'm going to go through the process of making one, especially with carrageen, because it's quite temperamental panna cotta. So that's the thing, if you overset it, you're screwed. If you underset it, you're basically left with a custard. So basically here I have 250 mils of regular cream. So I'm just going to add that into my pot. My nice wee jars. That goes on too. Try not to get my hands too dirty. And that's going in with some yogurt. So I've Glingling Farm yogurt, which is the unsweetened version. But it actually, if you taste it, it's quite naturally sweet. So that's what I like about it. So I'm kind of weird with natural yogurt, but I like this one now. And it's based in Cork as well. So that always helps.
Absolutely. Good
So
nod.
that's my cream or my yogurt got in there. And then we're basically putting in 75 grams of honey as well. So I have some Healy's honey, which you can find everywhere in the shop. It's a nice, good, classic honey flavour. So that's going in there.
Beautiful.
So basically what you're going to do is you're just going to lightly simmer this, and that's just to melt the honey down, just to mix it all together.
So warming, just above warming.
That's it,
Yeah.
Because if you heat too far, it'll obviously split.
Yeah.
So that's going on.
Great tip.
So, and then I'm going to set up my other pot here. So we're going to heat the milk up separately. So basically, I don't know if you've heard of the term tempering. So you basically do with eggs, and that's essentially what we're doing with this. So we're going to disperse the gelling agent in carrageen to this, just to make sure it's evenly dispersed, and obviously without curdling, because if you overheat your milk and your cream, you'll curdle it. So I'm going to have the equal quantity of just regular whole milk. So that is just 250 grams all over my apron.
Don't worry.
So that's going into my other pot. And we're going to submerge our carrageen into there.
Love
You
it.
don't want to have it too large of a pot because obviously it'll just burn and you don't want that at all. So that's just my rehydrated carrageen that's been sitting in at least 20 minutes now, but after 10 minutes it does the job. So that's just going in there. Make sure you don't find any sea creatures in it either, which might be likely, but so that's going over there.
Lovely. So into our milk, onto the heat.
That's it.
Nice and gentle, warm it through.
Yeah.
And we're trying to release that natural gelatin in the seaweed, isn't
That's it, yeah. So that'll just take a few minutes.
Lovely.
So basically I'm going to pair this with a furikake granola.
Say it again.
Furikake granola.
Love that. And question, you know, on the Late Late Show, you know what they say at the toy show. And here's, do we have one for?
Oh yes. That's the fun bit. So I got to work with my boss and he was like, if you're going to go all the way to Cork, you might as well make it worth it. So I was like, I will of course, and we'll do the best that we can. So basically we made little jars of this furikake granola for everybody to take home. So furikake is traditionally an Asian seasoning, so it's usually on sushi rice and it consists of chili flakes. Sometimes they put orange zest in there. There's different types of furikake and it's with seaweed, sesame seeds and bonito flakes, which is fish flakes. But I decided to make a sweet version, which like I tried looking everywhere. I can't find it, like, so it doesn't exist. So I was like, well, that's a good start. So
Didn't stop you.
didn't stop me. So instead of bonito flakes, which is fish flakes, I put toasted coconut. So, and I have my white sesame seeds in there. All of the allergens are on the back as well, just in case anybody's...
They're coming in the back door now. So
They're coming in the back door now,
to
yeah.
take home with you, with with your picture on it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, we created a beautiful logo as well. So
Especially for this. Yeah.
especially for this. But yeah, furikake is usually a savoury seasoning and we decided to make it into something sweet. So we put caramelised oats and some toasted sesame seeds, toasted coconut, and then we also have some Sligo seaweed as well. And it's a seaweed mix. So it's a mix of different red and brown seaweeds.
Yeah.
And green seaweeds as well.
Love
And
that.
this is produced by a lovely woman called Browne down in Sligo, and she's absolutely incredible.
Aww.
So she's created
Colours
this.
there as well.
Oh, it's
and then that flavour.
absolutely beautiful colours. So she's created this mix, and it's her top most beneficial, healthiest seaweeds, because she's actually a doctor as well.
Oh my God, I love this.
So she's created that into a
clever
nice.
use.
Yeah, that's
Well
it.
done you.
Into a nice little pouch, and she recommends putting it into smoothies, into pestos, but we decided to switch it up. So that's good there.
Fabulous, taking it off the heat.
Yeah. And I'm going to move this over here just for a bit more heat.
Yeah.
So basically when you're heating up your milk and carrageen, it's a very fine line of when it's done and when it's overdone. So basically we're looking for like a sauce on glaze consistency. So that's basically coating the back of the spoon. So it looks quite thin now, but it'll actually thicken up really quickly. So it's getting it to that stage of like a sauce on glaze before it overcooks and sets too hard. So that's
Great
that.
tips.
And then I'm going to actually work on the granola while you...
Do it. Yeah, no, trust
move
me.
this over as well.
Absolutely. Trust me with your life.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to turn this off. I know I'll keep it on.
Oh yeah, I can turn it off.
No water. So basically for caramelised oats, which is getting mixed in with our sesame seeds and our seaweed and our lovely toasted coconut, is caramelised oats, and basically that's just a fancy word for granola.
Yeah.
So I have my butter here, so that is 150 grams of butter, just in case anybody wants to write down the recipe. So essentially you're making like a regular caramel, and that's what we're going to mix our oats into. So I'll get that going.
So melting that down.
Melting that down, that's it.
Lovely. Sounds delicious, doesn't it?
Mm.
It's going to go off. Where are the controls, Ivan?
So here I just have some brown sugar.
Do something. Isaac, our techie. Thank God for him. Oh, sweetie, I'm watching.
A little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
So
Big difference in that now.
100%.
Lovely.
We'll just put that there. So yeah, we're just working on our caramel now, and then we have about 2 tablespoons of honey as well, some Healy's honey. Just take this one.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. I say that is good to go. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take that off the heat.
Yeah.
And basically you're just going to mix that straight into here.
On it.
On it, yeah. So you've already tempered your cream and your yogurt, so that'll stop it from splitting.
Slowly in.
Yeah, or you can lash it in either, or your cream and your milk is hot enough anyways. That's
Yeah,
it.
lovely.
That's it, stable. So
Beautiful. That looks great.
basically you're just getting all that natural gelling agent mixed through, so
Yeah.
and then we're going to strain it. So that is good.
So popping that through a nylon sieve.
That's it, yeah. Now this will take a while to set, so I have one prepared, but it actually works quite quick, surprisingly enough.
So pass it through the sieve. Are you going to apply a bit of pressure? Do
That's
you want to
it.
get as much of that jelly out?
That's it, yeah, exactly. So I'm going to turn this on a bit. So our caramel's working now, and that's the same. Like I know people have different like methods of making caramel as well, where you melt your sugar first and then you add your cream and your butter. But I literally just lash it all in, and it does the same job. Like you don't want to be too picky when you're at home. So, and it still does the same job. It does. It works quite well for me. So,
Is this on your menu at Hooked?
no, actually,
Is it coming onto the menu?
maybe.
If we make the drive, can
Well,
we have it?
actually, it'll be making a feature on a tasting menu that we're doing.
Yeah.
So-
I love it. What's happening?
We are hosting a dinner for the new ambassadors for the Tasty Atlantic Young Chef Programme this year.
That's freaking awesome.
So basically, I'm
Full
going to
circle.
full circle. That's it. So I'm going to bring in the like some of my local suppliers. The supplier that I worked with as well, which was Irish Premium Oysters, and they're going to be doing talks with us and just incorporating that story and the journey that I took as well while I was on the programme.
Oh.
So that's it. So that's our mix sieved now, and that's going to go into our serving bowls.
Ah, thank you.
So I have these 2 lovely bowls, TK Maxx, can't go wrong, to be honest with you.
Will you show us the thickness just on that spoon?
Yes, yeah.
So you can see a big difference. Yeah, lovely.
That's
Fully
it.
coating. Yeah.
I don't know if you can
beautiful.
see it there. So if you go like that, it'll still hold. That's the best way to describe it. So, and again, you're bringing the milk to like a sauce anglaise consistency. So we're just going to pour that into our bowl. So that's the first bowl done. And then just my second one here. And you're just going to leave that set in the fridge.
Love it.
And that's basically
Can I
it.
task you?
Now, just put that to you.
Fabulous, darlings. Fridge out the back. I'm not making it up. There genuinely is a fridge out the back.
So our caramel's almost ready. So basically what you're looking for the caramel is that the... Yes, I'll actually take her off you now. I'll drop this back as well. Thank you.
Make them work for their dessert.
That's it. So basically with the caramel, you're just looking to melt the sugar.
Yeah.
And then once it starts kind of bubbling, then you're ready to toss in your oats. And this is just like plain Flavin's oats, so it's nothing, like all of these ingredients are so easily accessible, but it's something a bit different. Especially if you're vegetarian as well, like it's hard enough finding like set desserts that don't have gelatin or other non-vegetarian ingredients. And you can completely change it to vegan as well with your dairy-free yogurts and stuff.
Yeah.
So it is very versatile.
And it's just as delicious, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And the carrageen actually doesn't taste too strong as well. Like you might think that it tastes like salty seaweed, shoreline, but it actually doesn't. Like, and it does quite a good job.
It's very muted, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah. So it can carry flavours.
Yeah, 100%. So we're bubbling up here.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn that off. And we have a nice lovely caramel now just to toss our oats into. So basically we're just going to mix this through until the oats are fully coated.
So everyone in the audience has a jar of this. So this is what we're talking about, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
So they're going to take it home and they're going to have it tomorrow on their...
You can put it on your porridge, on your yogurt for your breakfast.
Yeah, lovely.
And the seaweed is so... Like, there's so many benefits to eating seaweed, like especially with carrageen. Anyways, we had a Del Breslin here earlier, who's the creator of Moss Boss Tonic, and she's basically bringing back the tradition of people using carrageen as medicine. So
yeah, it's terrific.
It's terrific. That's it.
It has a place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Brilliant. So that's just fully mixed.
Yeah.
What happens then?
So it just goes onto a tray.
Yeah. I see you have a silk pat mat.
Yeah.
Love it. And if you don't have a silk pat mat, which is your non-stick mat, you can use parchment.
That's it.
Yeah. And that's so it doesn't stick and you have less wash up.
That's literally it. And they're so handy and they're so cheap. I got mine off Amazon, they're like 20 quid, so...
Yeah, buy local. Buy local. She did not just say that. Cool.
So basically what we're doing is just spreading it out.
Yeah.
And then that's going to bake for a roughly 10 minutes at 180. Or maybe hypothetically bake.
Best of luck.
I'm not too sure about that oven now.
Yeah. 10 minutes, would you mind? Thanks, Sarah. Okay, so, fabulous. So that's going into bake. Do we need to stir it at all? Do we make clusters out of it?
It depends on how flat you put it, but you can basically tell it's ready once it's starting to caramelise on top even further.
So it just changes slightly in colour as well.
Yeah, it's a deeper caramel colour.
Love it.
And basically once that's ready, you're going to break it up. I actually blitz mine in the blitzer, like a food processor, just to kind of break it up a bit. You can crumble it with your hands. We actually use it for the French toast and hooked as well.
Lovely.
And it's a beautiful accompaniment. And that basically gets mixed with some toasted coconut. So you can either pop it on a tray in the oven, or you can put it in a dry pan, and then some toasted sesame seeds.
Dry frying pan.
Yeah,
yeah. Don't be speeding through all of these brilliant techniques now.
And then of course your Browne seaweed mix.
Yeah, terrific.
That's it. So that's it. I have one ready from earlier, so she got a bit rough and tough in the bag, especially coming from Sligo.
I was going to say, how far did she travel?
So I'll take one of the big spoons.
Yeah.
So that's the carrageen set. You can actually see it moving around and it comes off the side of the bowl. So I don't know if you can see it there. So you know it's set. And basically what I did was I made Killohora poached apples. So I'll get the bottle here. So Killohora is an orchard based in Cork. It's absolutely stunning. I got 3 bottles and I drank one of them, and then one went into the recipe test and one went into this. you need it after a long week, but it's a beautiful mix of all of the apples that they have in their orchard, and they've been on the go for like 200 years or something.
So it's not one particular apple?
No, and they have some
varieties.
Rare varieties in there as well.
Oh.
So it has a beautiful, it's not like your typical cider, it's very smoky, it's very rich Italian tannins, and it's unbelievable. Absolutely
100%
beautiful.
apple juice using wild yeast for fermentation and matured over 12 months, so that's where all that flavour comes from.
Unbelievable.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Love it.
So basically I just poached apples. I just have the apples. I like nice big chunks of apple. I don't like little bits of apple.
Yeah.
So I just poached them up with literally the smallest bit of brown sugar, because you don't want to take away or over sweeten the cider. So you want to keep it as it is really. So I'm just going to pop in some of my apple here. I'm going to use 2 nice big chunks.
And this is a sharing bowl. So this comes to the table, which is a lovely way. Well, sharing is, now that we're back to it, now that second 5-letter word has gone out the window.
That's it.
Thank God for that. So it is lovely that we can create these dishes where we can share.
So I'm just using some of the syrup now from the cider, because obviously you don't want to waste all that, because the apples will only hold so much flavour, so you want to get the best out of the product.
Yeah.
I have my little furikake granola. By the way, the reason why I put in an Asian twist is from my time as well on the programme. When I was with Irish Premium Oysters, I was with Jimmy and Marion, and they were talking about their travels to Asia and how big their market is in Asia. And I thought that was really inspirational. He was talking about how he loves the flavours, the food. So it's kind of like a little bit of
a nod.
A little bit of a nod towards them as well. So
lovely.
I'm going to go ham on the granola now.
was going to say, Jesus, I better keep an eye on it. Oh, she looks lovely.
Yeah,
she's baking
so she's
away
working,
there.
So.
There's light golden hues coming out of that oven now. You'd be proud of me.
So here I have some sunflower greens as well. They're from Knockglass, which is my supplier in Donegal, and it's absolutely incredible. They're so fresh. So they actually spent.
What's the flavour?
It's sweet. So sunflower, it's.
Oh my God!
I feel like their herbs are so strong in flavour. They're so fresh. They're incredible.
Oh,
so
that's
they actually spent 3 weeks growing this for me, which was so nice of them. They're looking after me. So I'm just gonna pop in some of these.
Love it.
And it's nothing too fancy either.
Jesus, if they say it again, lads, I hear it. For the three of you have all said that. They're incredibly talented and they love to share their knowledge. So all of these recipes we will make available so they can access it. But also they can get in touch. So any questions after this?
At least you know as well that all the ingredients are easy.
But book a table at Hooked in Sligo and then Becky will come out of the kitchen and have the chats. They can do that too, can't they?
They can, of course.
Yeah.
We also do like food tours as well, so we're always up to something.
And then technical issues.
And
I love it. And
flowers.
we have something quite special now as well, Becky. Anna.
Yes.
Fabulous. Oh, I'm very excited about this. To finish the meal. Get out here.
Get my bits.
Oh yeah, get your bits. So we have the very first, I'm not going to say it, I'm going to let Anna say it because it's too cool for words. Valentia Island Vermouth. Do you know it? Oh, it's so delicious. Anna.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. We need to mic you up. Hold on. We need to hear everything you have to say.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, this is so great. So Valentia Island Vermouth. Yeah. You guys actually put up a video recently. I absolutely loved it. There was so much crack we had with you and Orla. You're great teachers. You're very passionate about what you do.
Just talk really loud. I'm going to talk loud.
Are you happy?
Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Good. Okay, great. So yeah, we did a cocktails in the cottage. So we live on Valentia Island in County Kerry, which is a beautiful part of the country. And we basically started this, which is the first Irish vermouth.
Round of applause. That is so cool. It is so cool because I was on Valentia Island recently and I just could sense and taste everything that you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we picked like actual gorse from the island and various other. Can you hear me alright? Yeah, right. And we picked the gorse from the island and we infused this with GNX, which is basically a nutrient-brain spirit, and that sucks all the flavour out of whatever we're steaming. So we do that with 20 different botanicals. So let's say you've got angelica seed. You've got star anise, you've got orris root, you've got clove, you've got sage, rosemary, there's 20 different ones. And we steep all those individually for, depending on what they are, say between 3 days and 3 weeks.
Oh.
And we just basically suck the flavour out, and then we've got that flavour like captured in that liquid. And then what we do then, we've got, it's basically, vermouth is wine based. So you've got a beautiful Botanical grape wine that you get from the hills of Madrid. And that's our building block, vermouth. So we have that in there, and then we'll have the 20 different botanicals that we use, and you add them in the various measurements to get this secret recipe, and then it's a sweet vermouth. And our sweet vermouth is made from me making the caramel.
Oh.
Now, to make the caramel, it's just literally, it smells delicious. Big pots, water, sugar, and you pour that down until it gets nearly burnt, 370 degrees Fahrenheit.
Whoa.
And it goes literally really dark. And then you pour it out into sheets. It's amazing, and it's like it's basically like lava. It scares me. But you pour it out into sheets, and then you wait for it to go hard. And then when it goes hard, that's when you can literally crack it back down, and you dissolve it back into the wine.
Oh my gosh, isn't that incredible?
I just want you all to have a little bit, try a little bit if you haven't tried it yet.
I don't know, have they earned it?
I never tried it.
Never.
I'm so eager.
Let's just
Let me do that for you.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Everyone can just have a little bit.
You're busy. You crack on and I'll do that, I promise. I won't drink it all myself.
If you want one, come on.
Can I get a
If you
tray?
want one, come on up.
Oh yeah, look.
There you go.
Best from the
You're making them work for it, Anna.
Come on.
Get the legs moving.
Go on, let me do that. Honestly.
There you go.
It's not her first rodeo, is it?
There you go.
She's very generous. Sweeties, come on, get out here.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no.
So, if everyone nearly has one, basically what you get on the first sip, you're going to get the sweetness of
Smell before you knock it back.
Yeah, have a little go.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, you get the sweetness first. So what happens when you have the sweetness? You have the caramel, then after that, the botanicals like roll in after. So when I've said like some of the botanicals, you might be able to pluck them out, like the sage or the rosemary or the gorse. Now the gorse is one of the key ingredients because that is like the vanilla flavour out of it. So gorse, if you ever walk down the lane and you pick like the little flower from the gorse and just eat it as is, you get like a coconut vanilla flavour.
We love it. They could taste this. This is Sarah's.
Yes.
Come and taste at the end.
Brilliant. It is. It's absolutely gorgeous. So, because we had in our original recipe, we had vanilla like pod, and we were like sort of playing around with the pod, and we were like, fine, it's all good, but then we just tried with gorse.
Yeah.
And we were like, we don't need
Yeah.
this vanilla that's from Madagascar or wherever it's coming from.
Yeah.
We've got gorse,
Down with
like-
that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've got like
We've got it in the
gorse
hedgerows.
right on our doorstep. So
Yeah.
it's brilliant.
Terrific. Great find.
So with vermouth, I mean, I personally drink it over ice, straight up.
Yeah.
My wife, it's the two of us that make it. She drinks it with tonic water and a slice of lime. Her favourite. But
I do freshly squeezed oranges and a giant ice cube, round ice cube, and I let it sit just for a couple of minutes.
just like a little tiny.
Crikey, and a bit of zest as well. Crikey, can't cope.
You can't-
Yeah,
can't say.
fabulous. Yeah. So there's a reason I asked you to come up here because we wanted you to compliment and we wanted the guys to compliment because we love this, sharing all of the producers. You have the first Irish,
Vermouth.
yeah,
Mass.
yes,
Yeah.
first Irish vermouth,
Yeah.
and you've now created the first Irish Manhattan,
Yes.
which is freaking awesome.
Yes, so we finally, so the bars and restaurants and everyone all over the world actually, because people in America are getting contact, are finally excited because you can make all Irish cocktails. So you can make all Irish Negronis, all Irish Manhattans, all Irish gin and its and stuff like that. So it's exciting times.
Fabulous.
So also, like usually with bitter wise, you use Angostura bitters, which obviously isn't Irish, but you've got this amazing Bear bitters. She's here as well. You can go and try it. And her name's Mary. She's amazing.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's brilliant, and her stuff is incredible. It's all made from organic alcohol. She steeps it. It's all natural. It's a beautiful ingredient. So we're going to use that. We're obviously going to use our vermouth, and then we've also got Botanical Cuisine. Beautiful whiskey as well. Now we picked this particular whiskey because it's aged in bourbon barrels basically.
Oh.
So that's why we've gone for this, for sort of an American sort of twang. Basically.
Lovely, very clever.
Is classically in America.
Yeah.
So, will I make a cocktail?
Yes.
All right. So what have we got? So it's served in a martini glass. So the first step with that is you want to get that super chilled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ice it up. I'll just put a bit of water in there.
I'll pop this up here. That'd be nicer.
Thanks, Lillian. So all I'm doing is, this isn't part of the recipe, this is me just chilling the glass down. Because you don't want
Great technique.
No one wants a warm cocktail. So the next thing you can start doing is actually start building it in the cocktail shaker. Sorry, I got myself dots in mine. Cool, so shaker, okay? Well, just a vessel that you can stir in. You actually don't need to shake this because you don't want to shake it up so that all of the ice goes everywhere, and you don't want all of that ice everywhere. You want it nice and, should we say, together.
Together.
You want it together. So loads of ice in there, don't hold back with that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a 35ml of the vermouth first. So that's it's a sweet vermouth. Say again?
35.
35. Yeah, 35 in there. So we're going to go a nice heavy hand 35. Always. And then we've got the Clonakilty whiskey, which we're going to go heavy hand as well. And then with the berry bitters, I'm going to give it three little pops on that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to get this cheeky little long fella. And all we want to do is we're just going to stir that until literally you can't hold it anymore.
Yeah.
So when you start feeling like you've got frostbite,
Yeah.
that's pretty much when you need to stop. Are you a fan of Manhattan?
I think I am now. When I saw your video, I literally lost my mind. I was like, that is the coolest, most cleverest, putting all of these fabulous producers and makers together. Come on, clever women. Yeah.
It's such a simple, okay, I've got frostbite. It's cool, frostbite is gone. I need to dash that off. So you see how chilled that is?
Yes.
That's what we want, a bit of condensation on there. So we've got here. Cool. I've got one of these fancy things that you can just use any old thing just to block up the ice basically. And then literally just pour it in like so. And then you want a little twist on it. So just get your orange. You basically just want to take off a bit of the pith. You don't want to get into the white stuff. You just want to keep to
The orange.
exactly.
As thin as you can get it.
Yeah.
Lovely. Still
So
nice
just
and
like
golden.
that, basically. Anyway. And then just give it a little twist. You just try to release all of the zest that's in
The natural oils. Yeah.
And
Give
then
it a bruise.
just pop it in like that.
Gorgeous.
That is it.
Holy moly! Well, do you know what? Where are all my guys? What's our starters? Look at them. Do you see they took a holiday? Because what I want to do is talk about the 3 courses. Look at them. Jesus.
Come on, get in there.
So today for starters, we had Sarah Browne. Sarah Browne. Because it's a marriage, this 3-course meal. And what I thought, you either start it with an Irish Manhattan, or you have it in the middle, or you come back for it at the end. I just felt it had a place everywhere. Sarah Browne, come close to me. Tell me, what was your dishes tonight?
So we're all on the course theme, I think,
Yeah.
more or less. So I had oysters from Kerry as well, from Lawn Oysters, with gorse kombucha vinegar and primrose leaf oil. And then I also had the same oysters again, but with a wild garlic and sheep's yogurt granita, which is now melted, and
Love
a
it.
charred 3-cornered lee cash.
Irish Manhattan? Oh yeah, work a treat. Stephen Cronin, main course today.
I had my cod, my wild garlic tartar, my cucumber pickle, and my gorse syrup. Again, like Sarah said, we're on the gorse buzz this
Love
week.
it.
And my
Piping hot potatoes.
my belly cotton spuds.
Piping hot. Irish Manhattan, work brilliantly with that too. Becca Sweeney, get up here. And we're finishing this beautiful meal with
It's a carrageen panna cotta with Killahora cider poached apples, some furikake granola and some sunflower shoots.
Anna, the finale. Very proudly presenting
An all Irish Manhattan.
Yoo-hoo! Huge thank you to everyone. Well done. Follow them all online. Go to Sligo, go to Hooks, catch up with them. Thank you everyone for hanging in there with us. It was super.